Now we cross the continent to the southwest, to the country of Namibia. This sparsely populated nation is becoming more and more a place no complete African hunter should pass up, and ranks number 5.
Namibia has probably one of the best organized safari industries in all of Africa.
Namibia has really come on as a hunting destination in recent years. They've got some pretty good elephant hunting in bushman land, also up along the Caprivi Strip. They've got a good plains game operation, most of them, and there's some dangerous game hunting there too. There's some pretty good leopard hunting. They got a leopard quota from CITES.
To describe the size of the animal when you've never hunted one before is amazing. They're so brightly colored with the whites and the blacks and the shiny black horns. You would think that they would stand out, but they are very well camouflaged and very quick, very spooky animals.
The experience of plains game in Namibia is second to none. I think anyone who has an opportunity to hunt Namibia, whether it's a first-time safari or a 10th-time safari, will find it just a marvelous experience.
A stable, beautiful country with a wealth of wildlife, Namibia deserves a place on any top 10 list.
I think Namibia is a wonderful first-class destination for the safari hunter.
I think we got a unique hunting area here. It's completely different from what a lot of people know. We got kudu, gemsbok, springbok, eland, mountain zebra, birch-ear zebra, giraffes, steenbok, duiker. We got a big variety of game here with us, and I think everybody must come and experience it to hunt in Africa.
Our number 4, the Save Conservancy in Zimbabwe, is a prime example of how private land, hunting, and conservation create the right combination that spells the future for African wildlife.
One of the bright spots in Zimbabwe today would have to be the Save Conservancy. This is an area in which the people themselves, the people who live there, are involved in the wildlife. They have a direct stake in the game and the hunting. And this ensures the preservation of some really spectacular and wonderful big game, from elephant to buffalo to lion.
The Save is deservedly famous for the classic African game that inhabits it.
We have over 1,000 elephants resident in our area, over 2,000 buffalo, and these populations are growing by the year.
The number of plains game animals down in the Save Conservancy is just phenomenal. I've never had the opportunity to hunt plains game in an area like here.
This is a classic place. It's one of the best I've found in Africa. As I said, I've been to Africa 21 times. It's not me coming over for my first safari and saying, oh my gosh, this place is great. This is great. It's one of the few places in Africa that I see, after being here 21 times, it is actually getting better with the game, with the way they're handling and managing their different animal species, and their camps are just at the top of the list.
Hunting in Zimbabwe is still probably the most reasonable safari you're going to get. It's wild country. We have very few fenced hunts. We hunt in free-range areas. The Save Conservancy, it's private land, but it's 1 million acres. Show me about 1 million acres that's not free-range. You know, it's great hunting. We have masses of wildlife. We have some of the best buffalo, the best elephant. It's a great place to hunt, and at a really good price. You can't beat it.
Bordering Zimbabwe is Zambia and the Luangwa River Valley. Luangwa means fishing baskets, but it's the cornucopia of big game that makes it number 3.
Zambia's Luangwa River. That's probably one of the most romantic locations you can find anywhere in Africa, especially for hunters. The game is just amazing.
It's a very prime hunting area. We have the elephant, we have buffalo, lion, leopard, and all the other plains game. It's very rich, very abundant. It's located in the eastern region of Zambia.
So I mean, this place is real wild. There's no fences. Our boundaries are either Luangwa River or the mountain range in the back called Chindeni. So all the game between the Chindeni and the Luangwa River. So the place is very, very wild.
The people have come to live with these animals. They've come to respect these animals. And one good thing is that they've come to realize that these same animals are bringing revenue back to them, to their respective villages, and so they're learning to conserve them, weighing the fact that the animals kill them, destroy their crops, and damage their houses. It's one of those things that they've come to live with here. It's part of life.
Luangwa hunters find wild country, but also comfort and service.
Zambia is one country which has been stable ever since we got our independence from the British. We have never had a war in this country. And I think the biggest problem we had is we kept a lot of freedom fighters
It's a place where you'll hear lions roaring at night, and you'll have to shoo away Cape buffalo to get to your tent. It's a place where you can still find some of the great big game species, sable and eland, and some of the other wonderful animals that you go to Africa to find. Anybody who is looking for the great experience of Africa as it once was and owes themselves a trip to Zambia, and the Luangwa Valley especially.
Number 2 on the 10 best list is Tanzania's Maasai Land. Here you can see the snows of Kilimanjaro and experience the classic tented safari of bygone days.
There's no question that the most storied hunting country in East Africa, and if not all of Africa, must be Tanzania. Tanzania, of course, is really where the safari had its inception, is where people like Ernest Hemingway and Robert Rourke went on their first safaris. It's a land that still possesses the big four, the buffalo, the elephant, the leopard, and the lion.
In this particular area that we're hunting, you normally see thousands of buffalo. It has some excellent line and some very, very big leopard.
No place evokes the romance of traditional Africa more than Maasai Land.
I think most of the people that do come to Africa or want to come to Africa have always wanted to come to Africa because it has a mystique, it has a sense of freedom, of wilderness, of vast open plains, of huge herds of animals that you don't get anywhere else in the world. You never really get the same feeling or the same smell, the same taste, the same things that you actually do when you get to Africa. It's fine looking at them on TV and talking about it around a table, but there's nothing that compares with the actual feeling of being an African.
Tanzania is ultimately the great adventure of the continent, and I think it is one country and one safari that most hunters in their hearts would truly aspire to.
It's just gone from strength to strength. It's a huge country. It's a country that's dependent on tourism dollars, and hunting is as strong in Tanzania today as it ever was.
There's no more unique assembly of habitat, wildlife, and sheer African splendor than that in Botswana's Okavango Delta.
There's so many unique things about the Okavango Delta that's difficult to begin. In the first place, it is the world's largest inland delta. It's water that fills up and does not go to the ocean. It never finds a way out.
I've been hunting here for over 25 years now, and it's a favorite place of mine. I've hunted all over Africa. To me, it's the greatest hunting area, concession, country in the world. So the game's here. It's all around. You don't have to travel far. It's unbelievable that we've got all this game. We don't have tsetse fly. We have very little malaria, if any. There's no ticks. It's a paradise. Okavango Delta is a paradise.
Hunting in the Okavango is practically an otherworldly experience. You spend most of your time in a canoe. You actually drift and float your way into the game.
We've got this water, this crystal clear water that you can reach down and drink anytime you're thirsty. And you've got sands, the Kalahari sands, white sands, palm trees. I mean, just about any place you look, you could put a beautiful camp and have a beautiful setting anywhere in the concession.
So it produces this incredible, lush, almost Edenic paradise of tall grass and water and wildlife of every kind, especially the big game, especially the dangerous game of the elephant and the lion.
It really is a movie star location. Anybody that goes there will not just go there one time, they'll continue to come back time and time again.
If it was all about doing absolutely whatever you wanted to do and you're making up life that required nothing of any needs or anything, I'd spend 1 month out every 12 in the Okavango Delta. It's incredible.
The richness of wildlife, habitat, and the entire safari experience there are what elevate the Okavango Delta to first place.
It's the ultimate dangerous game hunting in Africa.